The federal budget is coming up and Jim Chalmers has foreshadowed a plan to provide $3 billion worth of one-off cash handouts to provide relief from the soaring cost of energy.
And that's why our priority when it comes to providing cost of living relief, whether it's medicines, early childhood education, help with energy bills, is about taking some of the edge off these cost of living pressures without adding to the inflation problem.
Now, cash handouts mean he is also on the hunt for more revenue. Coming up with an extra $3 billion close to budget time isn't easy. It looks like he's going to find it by taxing the gas industry even more. Remember, Labor only recently imposed price caps on gas, taking away the capacity to earn the returns that motivate long-term and huge upfront investment. Industry are expecting the tax hike now, with a reduction in what can be claimed as a tax deduction and a bringing forward of the time at which taxes are payable. And remember, this is happening in the context of state governments who are also trying to prop up unbalanced budgets. Queensland's Labor have in the last year hiked up the royalties payable to the state government to record levels. I'll give you an example of that. The effective tax rate on metallurgical coal is now at 60%. It used to be at 40%, which was still a huge tax. And that's in addition to the federal government's taxes. There will be 3 consequences of a decision from Chalmers to raise gas taxes. It will make investment in Australian gas less attractive. That reduces long-term supply and it pushes prices up for Australian consumers. Second, it makes it harder for Australia to smoothly transition towards more renewable fuels because too much wind and solar in the network without enough firming capacity means instability. And the whole of the economy suffers when businesses cannot depend on a reliable, affordable energy supply. That means a hit to jobs. Small businesses, industrial and manufacturing businesses particularly cop it. Third, the constant changing of the rules of the game, whether it's applying price caps or inflicting tax hikes as soon as it looks like it will be possible to make a decent return on investment, stops new projects from getting off the ground. After all, why would anyone invest in the Australian energy industry, or indeed any Australian industry, when as soon as market conditions look good, they see that the government is prepared to cap their ability to earn a return or jack up taxes? It has the perverse effect of making it harder to get investors in emerging low emissions technologies too, like hydrogen. This week, I asked Ipswich locals what they'd prefer: a sugar hit of cash to help with the cost of energy now, or a government that's prepared to do the serious policy work needed to bring down the price of energy for the long term. Now, Ipswich is a town that does it tough sometimes, and I was really interested to hear what they had to say. Ipswich Mayor Teresa Harding and her team have done a beautiful job of sprucing up this Nicholas Street precinct of the city. So today I popped down to talk to locals about what they want to see the government do in the upcoming budget to bring down the cost of energy.
I would rather them look at the long-term policy to push down the prices of our energy, not just a one-off cash.
Price down.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And you, Emma?
Yeah, same.
I suspect for me I'd rather take the long term, but there's a lot of people out that are really hurting, so they probably need the cash up front. So it's like, depends on your financial situation.
There are a lot of people that are really struggling in the immediate term, so I don't see why it needs to be in either either. There surely can be a striked balance.
I think it's more sensible to bring the price down and everyone gets a benefit then.
So probably a long-term solution I think would be better than a short-term.
Probably energy reform. I mean, I'd be interested in looking at alternatives. I think things like nuclear power have come a long way since Fukushima.
Well, I think always government should be looking long term. A short-term cash payment is good, but it's not much good if the price keeps rising after that.
Look, I think with most things that long-term investment's going to pay off in short-term benefits, so definitely long-term.
I'd like to see the long-term policy if we could trust the mongrels.
So not the short-term sugar hit?
No, it doesn't work. There are geopolitical and security implications too.
In a speech on the 30th of March this year, Ambassador of Japan to Australia, Yamagami Shingo, said, "It's hard to imagine the neon lights of Tokyo ever going out. But with Australia now supplying 70% of coal, 60% of iron ore and 40% of Japan's gas imports, this is exactly what would happen if Australia stopped producing energy resources." Now, underlying that characteristically polite Japanese address is a tone of anxiety that one of our most stable and reliable trading partners depends on us, and Australian mismanagement of the investment environment presents risks to our allies' ability to power their economy and security. His Excellency made it clear that for Japan, coal and gas would be a part of the energy landscape for many years yet. It's not to say they won't have renewables, just that Japan understands the need for balance in the energy system. The problem with Australian policymakers peddling nonsense like no new coal and gas is that it would not only harm our national output, it would also weaken friendly nations at a time of global geopolitical instability. The impact extends beyond the Asia-Pacific region. Reduced investment in Australian energy because of the government's volatility means a reduction in Australia's future gas exports. Russia is a major gas producer. That means a large number of the dollars that Australia fails to earn from developing and exporting gas will end up putting rubles in the pockets of Mr. Putin, sanctions notwithstanding. One of the simplest ways we can help in places like the Ukraine is to stop creating opportunities for the Russian state to make so much money and to contribute to alternative markets from which Europeans and others can buy. And given the precarious security position Australia faces, it's plain stupid to disincentivise investment in reliable, sovereign energy capability. It is madness to rush out of transitional fuels like gas, particularly in the absence of low emissions baseload options like nuclear energy. Chalmers is skating on very thin economic and geopolitical ice. The consequence is likely to be high prices in the long term, as the disincentives of price caps and higher taxes and royalties come to bite the transitional fuel market and stunt the development of emerging low-emission dispatchable energy sources like hydrogen. With that comes a strategic vulnerability for our economy and defence. Boy, that's a high price to pay. Let's be real here. The first year of a new term of government is the time to take the hard decisions necessary to set up the nation for success, economically and geopolitically. And affordable, secure and sovereign energy supply is the most important lever it could possibly pull to deliver on both. Labor should be lowering barriers to investment, reducing taxes and pouring political capital into the development of nuclear energy. And yet, it is doing the very opposite. And it's Australians who will pay the price for Jim Chalmers' lack of political courage.